Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Waubonsee Community College's Sports Spotlight. I'm your host, Steve Moga, and it is, well, February frenzy, March Madness time. It's that time of year. The basketball seasons are winding down. The postseason has begun. And joining me is Waubonsee head coach Dave Heiss, the Hall of Famer, coming here to talk to us a little bit about men's basketball and kind of finish the wrap up the regular season and into the playoffs, Coach. And first of all, you guys had kind of an up and down season at times, and we'll get that out of the way real quick. You ended up though still getting a 4 seed, or a 3 seed. I'm sorry, you're still going to host a home game. But let's talk about the last few games of the season. You played some good basketball. I think you're peaking at the right time, even though you did have one loss there in Prairie State that really you had an outside shot at possibly an Illinois Skyway Collegiate Conference title, and that loss at Prairie State really cost you.
Well, there were several losses. The one. The first time we played Lake County up at Lake County, we were up with possession of the basketball up 2 late in the ball game with a minute and a half to go, and didn't close that game out, and had a couple crucial turnovers and some mental lapses defensively, and lost that game by 3. Then obviously, we came back and we played Morton at Morton. We were up late in the ball game there, and just had a series of turnovers late in the game, and allowed them to sneak in and pull out a victory by 4 there. And then we didn't show up at the Prairie State game. That was a makeup game from one of the days that we had the snowstorm, and we were down 18-6 and 24-15 at halftime. And that's just not how we usually play, and we usually score a few more points. And you could just tell by the kids' body language that they weren't ready to play basketball.
But you played better after that. You knocked off the team that was in first place at that time by themselves. That was Moraine Valley, and your team looked as good as they had all year in that game.
Yeah, we did. We came out and played with some energy. We executed, kind of took care of the basketball, particularly the second half. When we outscored Moraine by 18, I think we had 5 turnovers in the second half. And then we closed out the season at Oakton. Played extremely well the first half. We were up 14. And they came out with a lot of energy the second half. We didn't match that. And we were up 60 with 2.5 minutes to go with the ball, and didn't score again until DJ Deere hit that shot with 1.4 seconds to go to win by 2.
And you've had a few of those close games. Like you see, you lost a couple early. You're starting to learn how to win those ones at the end of the game. I know you don't.
Well, we're learning how to lose them too. We've had several where we just don't, build on those leads late in the game. Where it's tough when you don't go down and get a shot off, or at least attempt at a shot off, or get to the foul line when you're turning the ball over. And the frustrating thing from us, from a coaching standpoint, is a lot of these turnovers, Steve, are just unforced turnovers. They're trying to make passes in the tight spots, not using a ball fake. I mean, there's times that we got guys that are throwing right into the defender's hands when his hands are up in the air. So those type of turnovers are really tough from a coaching perspective to swallow.
I know that's been a point of emphasis in practice as well, and something that obviously you need to fix. I'm sure you're going to fix. And at times you have been pretty good not doing those kinds of things, those unforced errors.
And I think what's really hurt us, Steve, is we have not been able to go live in practice because of our injuries. 5 out of the 7 weeks here in the second half of the season, we had at least 3 games, and we've got a bunch of kids that are just nicked up and banged up. And basically, Phil has kind of said you can either utilize them in practice or you can utilize them in games. So we're kind of limited on what we can do with some of these kids, and so we have not been able to go up and down and work out some of these timing issues, and I think that's kind of affected us and caused some of our sloppiness.
You mentioned Phil. That'd be Phil Jacobs, your athletic trainer.
He's been our 6th man this year. Just keeping. We got some kids that are just banged up. He thinks Demetrius Ewing might have a stress fracture. Addison, you remember he had that severely, badly sprained ankle 3 weeks ago. DJ Deere has been fighting a groin pull all second half of the year. Kevin Jackson missed a game. Williams, he was out for a month. He just came back a couple weeks ago, and he's not 100%. So, we've been unfortunate from that perspective, but fortunate that we're not allowed, but they're able to play in games. But a lot of times we're not 100%. And I really believe that has really had a lot to do with our timing, particularly in a scrimmage type of setting.
Well, you survived the regular season, let's put it that way, intact somewhat. Right. You are getting healthy now. You know as well as anybody, you play well at the right time of the year. Here at the end, anything's possible. But we were talking about all those guys, and since we started this out by talking about the Illinois Skyway Collegiate Conference a little bit, I want to mention that Darnell Wright and DJ Deere were both first-team all-conference for you, along with Jacob Niesman and Demetrius Ewing as second-team all-conference selections. And I tell you what, how far, in case in point, Jacob Niesman's come in just a couple of years, and incredibly improving his game. It's just been fun to watch that kid, his game develop and just get better and better.
He just plays so hard. I mean, that's the constant after a game is the opposing coaches are just coming up and acknowledging the way Jake plays. I mean, he was our defensive stopper last year. He's our defensive stopper this year, and he competes at such a high level and plays so hard. And the opposing coaches really recognize that. And I don't think Demetrius had the type of season that he wanted to have and that we thought he could have, because of the foot injury. But, he has had some big games where he's had 14 points, 8 rebounds, and has, provided some leadership. And obviously, you've seen some of the games that Darnell had. He just completely dominated that Moraine Valley game where he had 30 points and 23 rebounds and several blocks and a couple steals. And, DJ struggled the second half of the year with his shooting, but he's one of our threats from the perimeter, along with Michi and Addison Bodie.
Well, I want to talk more about those guys, and I want to talk about the Region 4 tournament coming up here shortly, but we need to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to talk more basketball with Dave Heiss, so stay with us.
It's not my first time bartending, so.
It's a sausage party in here.
It's fine. I'm very familiar.
Yeah, because you're a sexy girl, Sam. Last thing,
Yeah.
is that the music, when Momo kicks it into high gear, is going to get a little bit loud in here. So your customers are going to have a hard time hearing you. So you may want to.
What?
Back here on Sports Spotlight, and a reminder, you can get information about Chiefs athletics, this time by going to www.gochiefs.com. The new Waubonsee website is up and running, so you need to go to gochiefs.com now to get more information on the Chiefs. And another guy who's got a lot of information on the Chiefs, Dave Heiss, here with me. And Coach, we were talking about some of your top players here. You mentioned Jacob Niesman was one of the guys we talked about, a defensive stopper. 110 assists for him on the year, 52 steals, shooting 45% from the field, done a great job. Demetrius Ewing as well, almost shooting 48% from the field, 8 rebounds a game, 12 points a game. Both those guys earning second-team all-conference honors, we mentioned in the segment before. And then your top two guys, DJ Deere, also, even though you said his shootings fell off a little bit, he's still shooting 40% from the field on the year, 84% from the line. He's your best free throw shooter, 3 assists a game, 14 points a game. And then Darnell Wright, who has really come on and really been a force probably the last month, to be honest with you. He's really turning on. He's averaging 16.4 points a game, 10.5 rebounds, also shooting about 57% from the field. A nominee for the NJCAA National Player of the Week this past week, and we don't know if he's gotten that yet or not at the time we're recording this, but he certainly has carried you guys at times, just offensively and defensively, and the rebounding. You mentioned the 30.23 rebound game. That was too shy of the Waubonsee single game record, which was 25, set by none other than Phil Neal back in 1971 and one of your guys, Mike Leonard, in 2005 up at Kishwaukee.
He's had some big games, and then he's had some games on the road where he's just disappeared, Steve, so it's been frustrating.
Well, the good thing is all your games are at home from this point on.
Well, you're right, and trust me, we've talked about that as a coaching staff. And against Morton, who was the conference champion this year, he had 25 points and 17 rebounds at home. So he's capable of putting up big numbers, and we're going to need those big numbers if we have a chance of progressing through the tournament coming from him. And another kid, a sophomore, that you haven't mentioned that has just made tremendous strides is Jake Pike.
Yeah.
Jake's averaging about 8 points and 6 rebounds a game for us, and to see where he's come from in 3 years is just unbelievable.
Yeah, both those guys, Oswego High School
Yeah.
products, didn't play that much in high school. They've done a great job for you here and filled some roles for you. But that's what a lot of times your teams, you have distinct roles within your offense, within your defensive philosophy, and those guys have really adjusted well.
Oh, without question. You know, I think Jake Niesman's the heart and soul of our team. I mean, he's the glue that holds us together because he plays so hard. And when you see somebody play that hard, you know, it becomes contagious, hopefully contagious with some of the other guys. And he's our floor general out there. And Jake Pike is a guy that, you know, we look for down low in the post, and he's capable of going and getting you some baskets.
Well, Coach, a few years ago, I'm going back a few years ago, you were the 6th seed, and you ran the table and won everything, got to the national tournament with a 500 record. You got a better record than that right now. You're 19-9 as you head into postseason play. You got a 3 seed, as we mentioned in the first part of the show. You're going to play 6th seed at Wright College, a team you've played already. You had a pretty good game with them. They're a hard team to gauge. They're 16-13 overall, but they've beaten some really good teams. They've lost to some teams you think they should have beaten. What do you see for that game coming up? And you know, having played them already, what kind of things were you able to take away from that?
Well, they're very athletic. They want to push the tempo. I think when we played them the very first time right before Christmas break, they were averaging 89 points a game. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we held them to 60 or 62 points. So we're going to have to do that again defensively, get after them. They've got a little point guard that reminds you a little bit of Isaiah Thomas, the professional player. He's a lefty and very crafty and can get to the basket. And, you know, he's not afraid to shoot the 3. We really took him out of the game last time and really focused in on him. But then they had this other kid, number 23, that was, I think he had 7 threes against us when we played him because we kind of left him alone. We ran a box and 1. Well, late in the game, I think it was about 7 minutes to go, we went to a triangle and 2 where you put 3 guys in the zone. The other 2 guys are guarding man-to-man. And we put a guy on the shooter, and I don't think he scored again after that. And we were able to create some separation and won by 11 pulling away.
I want to mention the rest of the bracket you're in with the men's Division II District 4 tournament. Morton is the top seed. They are hosting Kishwaukee. The 8th seed, Carl Sandburg, the 4 against 5 with them and Brian Stratton. South Suburban is a 3 seed in this unique format, or I'm sorry, 2 seed in this unique format where it's a crossover. So they're from the A bracket. They play in your side, so to speak, and so they are hosting Oakton. So the winner of your game between you and Wright will probably play South Suburban as the higher seed against a team that Oakton has struggled at times. But that game will be Sunday, March 4th at 6 p.m. in Erickson Hall. Also, the winner of the other 2 games in the top part of the bracket will play at 4 o'clock on the 4th as well. And then the championship is Saturday, March 10th at 7:30 p.m., the marquee game at the end of the day, the last of 4 championship games in Erickson Hall. Again, Waubonsee, the host site for the semifinals and the championship round for not only the men's Division II tournament, the 2 brackets, but also the women's as well. There's 4 championship games on the 10th, and certainly would love to see your Chiefs in that last game.
Well, you know, you got to take it one at a time, and it's about surviving and moving on. And it's a cliche that we all use, but that's the reality of it. You know, you've got to be able to defend, you got to be able to rebound, you got to be able to take care of the basketball, and you got to be able to make free throws. And if you do those things, generally, that team moves on in the tournament. So those are the things that we've kind of emphasized all week, and also emphasized what they're going to do against us, and watching film on them. But yeah, we're just hoping to get, one at a time.
Yeah, you have to take it one at a time. You can't look ahead of anybody, but of course, I'm going to look ahead. And if you've got South Suburban, a team that's been nationally ranked most of the year. They just recently lost to Triton by quite a bit, as a matter of fact, at Triton. That's why they dropped down there. They're now ranked 11th nationally, but they got the 2 seed. Triton got the 1 seed on that other side. And but you played them early in the year. You know how talented they are. John Pagatti's teams are always very big and physical and athletic, and they're going to come with intensity with him on the sideline.
Well, they've lost 2 of their last 3. They lost to Blackhawk at Blackhawk, and I believe Blackhawk is the 7th seed on that other side. And then the Triton score was a little misleading. They were down 1 at halftime, and his point guard had to leave the game to go to a funeral. They had a grandfather that had passed away out of state, so he was flying out, and so he was able to play in the first half but couldn't play in the second half. So they ended up getting beat by 27, but it was a 1-point game at halftime.
Wow. Okay. Well, that gives you
Junior college basketball.
You never know. Well,
No.
well, if there's a way you can clamp down on that point guard
Yeah.
or get him in foul trouble,
Right.
but yeah, you're looking
Yeah, we're looking
ahead.
for, if we're able to survive and get past right. I mean, we laid an egg when we played there. I think that was the second game of the year, and they just beat us, whooped us in every facet. Basically, they played harder and they out-toughed us, and they beat us by 30. So if we're lucky enough to get through and get by right, hopefully the kids will be looking forward to that challenge and show South Suburban that wasn't the team that they had seen the first time.
We got about 30 seconds, and I want to just give a quick shout-out. Congratulations, additionally, to Darnell Wright and DJ Deere. Darnell, a first-team All-Region selection, is up for All-American nominations, as well as DJ Deere was a second-team All-Region selection. So kudos to those guys. And, Coach, obviously, congratulations on, if nothing else, another successful season. One more victory to get to 20 again. That would be another
That's
feather
kind
in
of
your
the
cap.
benchmark, yep.
It has been the benchmark, and you guys have done that quite a few times over your 33 years. And congratulations, you made it another year, 33. But we'll
Thank
talk
you.
about that next time on the show. We have to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to talk about the women's basketball team with head coach Jim Williams. So don't go away. Back here on Sports Spotlight, and another reminder, this time though, about the Region 4 Division 2 tournament being hosted here at Waubonsee. You can watch all the championship games live. You can watch the semifinal games on March 3rd, the 4 women's semifinals, the 4 men's semifinals on Sunday, March 4th, and the championship games on March 10th. You can watch all those live online at gochiefs.com/region 4, and the 4 is the Roman numeral IV 4, not the numeral 4. Again, that's gochiefs.com/region 4 to be able to log on and watch all those games live. And joining me now to talk about the women's basketball team, head coach Jim Williams. And Coach, thanks for stopping in.
Thanks for having me.
And I've got to talk about the end of the year where your team played some pretty good basketball, knocked off a Moraine Valley team, somewhat putting yourselves in great position. As it turned out, you shared the conference title with McHenry County, who got upset. Even though you got upset by Prairie State, they also lost, and you ended up being tied for first and sharing the conference title. So congratulations on another conference championship.
Thank you.
That is the third conference title, 3 years in a row now. And 4 out of the last 6, or hold a second, now I'm doubting myself.
Yeah, I think it's right. 4 out of the last 6.
6 years, and combined record 59-9 in conference play over that stretch. Pretty good numbers. You weren't here for all of them, but you were here for most of those.
Right, 4 of those years I was here for, so 3 in a row actually.
Well, it's a pretty good accomplishment. From where you were at some point during the season, you're kind of up and down, struggling to be 500. Then your team played really well in conference play, especially down the stretch.
Yeah, second half of the year we definitely played a lot better. We came together a lot more, and offensively we put the ball in the bucket.
You had a big victory against McHenry the second time around when you played them here at home. That put you in a great position to get to where you ended up being a co-champion. Just a fantastic game, a good game. Your team learned a lot that game, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. They had to gut it out against a good McHenry team that plays real sound defense, and they can score as well.
I mentioned 5 young ladies who got recognized by the Illinois Skyway Collegiate Conference. Moselle Kempiak, Mo, as we suspected, was a first-team all-conference selection. Alexis Van Wy, also first-team all-conference selection, and Lauren Goff. So and your 3 sophomores that you've kind of gone to the last 2 years, they were all-conference last year. They repeated again this year. Those are your three players that you're really focused, that was the focus all year for you offensively and defensively, and again, they carried you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, all three of those started basically every game they were healthy 2 years in a row. I mean, Lauren is the only one, probably missed a couple games with an injury, and she played injured pretty much the second half of the year.
Mm-hmm. Alexis, I I think missed a couple games here and there due to illness, but Mo never missed a game.
Mo never did.
46, folks, 46 double-doubles in 61 career collegiate games is what she finished with here in her Waubonsie career. The next closest person had 24, by the way. But automatic double digits in points and rebounds, that's pretty nice as a coach to be able to go, okay, we'll pencil her in, we're going to get this and this from her every game. That's pretty much what you got.
Yeah, she was amazing. The 2 years that we've had her, she's incredible, and you know, hopefully she goes on and continues her playing career at a 4-year school.
She came in small high school, Serena High School, small town, Marseilles, a little timid at times, a little quiet, but she really kind of broke out of her shell as she went along. Would you say was her biggest strength in the end? What really helped her to succeed on the floor?
Well, she gained a lot of confidence is probably one of them, which she always battled throughout the year, especially the first 5 minutes of every game, sort of. She always started real slow, and then all of a sudden she'd get going, and especially the second half of the year, which she did both her freshman year and her sophomore year.
She finished the season almost 14 points a game, almost 12 rebounds a game, a couple steals, almost 3 assists per contest, did a little bit of everything for you. Should mention Alexis Van Wy, also 12 points per contest, around 8 rebounds per game, and Lauren Goff was your leader, obviously running the point, running your offense, almost 5 assists per contest, 9 points per game, and made 43s for you on the season.
Yeah, and she was also one of our leaders in steals. I think she was almost 3 steals a game as well, which was pretty nice for her to see that, especially when she gets aggressive.
Got to give kudos to your 2 second-team all-conference selections, Haley Farron and Emily Uplegger, those 2 as well. Emily finished with 52 three-pointers, averaging 8 points per contest. And Haley also another threat from the outside with 37 made threes on the year.
Yeah, they both shot about 30%. You know, next year we'll be shooting to get that percentage much higher. But they can fill it when they're on, and you know, all year they had their ups and downs as being freshmen. You know, with their shooting percentage, but when they're on, they're tough to stop.
We got about a half a minute here, and I should mention that Mo Kempiak was also an all-region selection, as well as Alexis Van Wy, and Mo was just 1 spot below, or she needed to be in the top 4, is it?
Top 3.
Top 3 to be nominated for All-American consideration. She was 4th.
Yeah.
And Alexis also on there. Congratulations to both of them, and obviously going to miss them next year at this time.
Yeah, no doubt. Going to miss that sophomore leadership that they gave us, and toughness. They definitely brought a level of toughness.
Well, we have to take a tough break right now. We have to take a break. So when we come back, we're going to talk more basketball with Jim Williams. Don't go away.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
All right, glad you are back with us here in Sports Spotlight. We're talking with Jim Williams, the women's head basketball coach. And Jim, the Region 4 Division II tournament hosted by Waubonsie. You got a high enough seed to host at home. Unfortunately, things did not work out the way you had written it up. The 4 seed Waubonsie going against the 5 seed in Morton College, and a team that you beat twice during the regular season, but there were 2 really good games, and 4 against 5 are always a tough matchup, but you guys came in 18-12 overall. They were 16-14, but you throw those records out, and sure enough, they were able to kind of take control of the game early, and you guys never were able to get on track with your shooting touch. That was the biggest key. You just did not shoot the ball well, and in a one-and-done scenario, that's not the way you want to have things go for you, and you came out on the short end of a 71-61 game.
Yeah, that's not what you want to happen, especially in one and done. We didn't put the ball in the bucket. Our freshmen didn't play particularly well. We didn't rebound. We didn't go after it as well as I would have liked to seen. But I thought, Moselle, Kempiak ended on a great note, 22 points, 15 rebounds. And Lauren Goff probably played her best game of the year. Shot the ball extremely well for us. There were a couple times I wish she would have shot more. But our freshmen struggled shooting the ball.
You finished the game just 30% from the field. Also, just 5 of 28 from three-point range. And those are the numbers that really stood out to me. Defensively, they were able to get the ball down. They really kept just really pounding the ball down inside, and they really get some really easy looks inside. They outscored you 36-24 in the paint, and you end up losing by 10 points, and it seems like those two things to combine, it was just tough to overcome that.
Yeah, all year they had given us issues defensively. And definitely down in the post, they have a couple big bangers that gave us problems, and we were never able to overcome it last night.
Well, you still had a successful first season as head coach, 18 victories, and I mentioned the conference championship, the co-championship with McHenry County. You've got a good nucleus of players coming back next year, and you've got some pretty good recruits coming in already. What is the, kind of the outlook, without maybe going into too much detail, about how things look for next year?
Well, we got one big coming back. We have 7 freshmen coming back. We're looking for a point guard right now, definitely. So we've got a couple feelers out there. So that's one area of concern, and we probably need one more scorer, really. But we have some height. We have some shooters that are coming back, and things look promising.
We can't get Nene Clark another year of eligibility, another point guard, keep her here a little bit longer. Well, Coach, the loss leaves a disappointing, bad taste probably in your mouth to lose. You can handle losing, but when you don't play well and you lose to a team you feel like you should beat, that makes it a tough way to end the season. What did you tell the girls afterwards, and what was it like there in the locker room?
Well, I told them they were part of history. 3 conference championships in a row. Sophomores have 2 in a row that they've been here. They've had 35 wins in 2 years, and I thought that that was a good way to go out. And they played hard for us all the time, so I can't doubt them ever for that. And the other thing that I always tried to do this year was to establish a culture for women's basketball. Mm-hmm. And I think we've started moving things on the right path.
Certainly have, and your assistant, Carla Wiedinghoff, a former player as well, comes from the program, comes from the tradition. She was able to lend a hand and help create that culture as well. It certainly seems like you're moving in the right direction, and certainly hope you continue to do that. Now that your team is no longer playing, now you turn analyst, let's put it that way. Morton has to now play Kankakee, the top seed, Saturday, March 3rd. The 4 p.m. semifinal. The other semifinal will pit Illinois Valley against Prairie State at 6 p.m. That in the District D bracket. Illinois Valley handled Wright College and Prairie State down to Black Hawk, and Kankakee had handily beat the 8th seed College of Lake County. Who do you see coming out of this District D bracket?
I mean, I would have thought, to me, Kankakee comes out of as the 1 seed, and I think Prairie State has a good chance of upsetting the 2 seed in Illinois Valley.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully it'll play out that way. I was going to say, the other side, the District L bracket for the ladies, Bryant Stratton will face Moraine Valley in the noon game on Saturday, March 3rd, and South Suburban will take on McHenry at 2 p.m. And you can get more information, again, by going online to GoChiefs.com. You can get all those brackets there for not only the women, but the men as well, that Coach Dave Heitz and I talked a little bit about early on in this show. But we are out of time here on Sports Spotlight. On behalf of Dave Heitz, Jim Williams, on behalf of our crew, Chris Twitter feed Foster, and Jim Double Bogey Magera, I'm Steve Moga. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.